The complainant says they're a former civil servant, a person of colour, and their contention was, as reported in The Guardian, that every time a media figure criticises a person of colour, that means that they suffer more racial abuse themselves. So any of us, for instance, who criticised the gangster Chris Cabba after that recent trial, we could all get a knock on the door because this person might say, well, Patrick O'Flynn or Dan Wootton said something disobliging about Chris Cabba, and the next day someone in the street said something to me that was unkind, and I think it's they were stirring up hatred. This should have been thrown out within 10 minutes.
So I cannot tell you enough how serious the threat to free speech in the UK is. The fact that the MSM and establishment refuse to comment on this dystopian creep towards authoritarianism under slippery stammer doesn't mean that it's not happening. It simply means they are a major part of the plot. Elon Musk gets that. Thank God for Elon Musk. Actually, after I brought international attention yesterday to the shocking case of the 23-year-old care worker and citizen journalist Cameron Bell, who was jailed for 9 months simply for live streaming a so-called riot after the Southport massacre, even though she didn't take part in any of the violence herself, in the past few hours, Musk has responded very clearly. Look at his declaration. It's simple, but it's chilling. The UK is now a police state. Just think about that for 1 second. The richest man in the world, a senior member of the next Trump administration, and the owner of the free speech platform X, which is now the #1 source for journalism internationally, decrying Great Britain as a police state. And he really isn't wrong. Two of the smartest women I know personally, women Britain should be proud of and getting to solve our problems, Allison Pearson and Bernice Bofforth, have both been hounded by police, the same police who refused to solve burglaries, refused to solve muggings, refused to solve rapes, but these two women have been hounded for posts on X. Meanwhile, good honest grandmothers languishing behind bars for posts on Facebook. But it's Allison's case that is finally getting the MSM to look at the madness of the police attempting to patrol right-wing speech, with even 9-year-olds being targeted for playground insults. But this afternoon, I can tell you there has been a major development in the case from The Guardian, which reports it was a non-Muslim former civil servant who shot Allison to the cops for her tweet. So this is what the Hard Left newspaper, which ironically quit X this week, remember that, over its hatred for free speech, this is what The Guardian is reporting this afternoon. So they believe that they have found the post at the centre of the row. It is a retweet by Pearson of a photograph posted several months ago amid heightened tensions over the policing of Gaza protests. It shows a group of people of colour posing with a flag on a British street flanked by 3 police officers. The Guardian says the photograph angered Pearson, who wrote a tweet condemning the Metropolitan Police. And this is what the police said. This is what the tweet said. How dare they? Invited to pose for a photo with lovely, peaceful British Friends of Israel on Saturday, police refused. Look at this lot, smiling with the Jew haters. Now, The Guardian says that the picture is actually from Manchester and that the flag is from Pakistan. But so what? Allison deleted the post. She didn't want to spread fake news, although the sentiment was certainly true. It was simply just the wrong picture that had been used. But how the hell could that post spark a criminal investigation spanning 3 police forces? Well, The Guardian gave us a clue this afternoon. Their report goes on. The person who complained to the police is not Muslim nor one of those pictured, but a person of colour who told The Guardian that Allison's description of the 2 people of colour as Jew haters is racist and inflammatory. Okay, so I know what's going on here now. The police are being used as part of the culture war, and it is utterly chilling. Now, Allison she isn't going to go quietly. Trust me, I've spoken to her today, and she has posted on X, "I am proud that after telling what Essex police did to me, stories of children getting non-crime hate incidents for saying a girl smells of fish are coming out. Children. We live in an Orwellian state, and normal people must fight for freedom as best they can." And there's so much of this horror going around. I want to share with you a post that Rachel Halliwell sent me yesterday on X. Now, I'm sharing this because it has also captured the attention of Elon Musk. So Rachel wrote to me to say, "My son, who is 16, will be sentenced on the 3rd of December for the Southport riots. It is his first offence. His sister was groomed, raped and beaten at 12 in Southport. She killed herself after being failed by Merseyside police. Her inquest starts the 13th of January. Her brother is going to prison." And so much of what is going on comes down to the authorities and this government trying to shut us up about Southport, as Allison so brilliantly outlined on Outspoken earlier this week.
That this individual was allegedly making a bioweapon in their kitchen, that information is going to go straight to the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister and to the security services. So it's extremely serious. And I think the idea is, let's not give these plebs a reason to kick off. But in fact, what happened was that backfired. And then people got very upset and angry. And I would say that the alleged murder of 3 beautiful little girls was a cause to get upset and to be very angry and to wonder what manner of person is this that's living in our country who carries out this barbaric slaughter. But as we know from my visit from the police expressing any of this, I mean, who knows, they can call anything racism, Dan.
Yes,
even if you're...
And the tentacles, though, Allison, what really concerns me is, and as Robert Jenrick posted about the Southport cover-up, we still don't know the truth. Who in government knew what and when? Why were the public kept in the dark for so long? Labour are deluded if they think these questions are going away, and that's not the only two-tier nonsense, is it? As Richard Taylor attempted to remind the MSM today, it's been 113 days since these thugs attacked police officers and are still not charged. Disgusting. But do you think the loony left care about any of this? Do they care about the two-tier justice? Do they care about the removal of free speech? Of course not. Of course not. Indeed, they are so focused on trying to get at Musk by quitting X in a huff because their woman didn't win in America. So, I mean, I don't know whether to laugh or cry about this. Carol Vorderman, who, let's just be honest about this, becomes more unhinged by the day, has visited the suspension bridge in Clifton that has gone wrong. Sorry, that has gone viral. It's gone viral for all the wrong reasons. Because the bridge decided to quit X.
Carol, it's such a lovely bridge, isn't it? The Clifton Suspension Bridge.
It really is, Alice. But have you heard the news?
What news?
The suspension bridge has come off Twitter.
How terrifying that we have morons like that currently running the UK. God help us. Now, my superstar panel. And I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by the conservative commentator Tom Sullivan and the author of the brilliant State of the Nation Substack. He's on Substack too, you see. It's the place to be these days. Patrick O'Flynn. Great to have you both here. Patrick, can I kick off with you? This Guardian report revealing what Allison Pearson's so-called criminal, so-called racist post on X was, I believe they are right. My understanding is that is the post that the police are investigating. Can you see in any way how that post could at all be criminal?
No, not at all. I mean, it's a really important breakthrough. I don't suppose the Guardian intended it to be helpful to the free speech side of the debate. But what they make clear is that Allison perhaps misconstrued a picture as being from one of the hate marches in London when it was from Manchester. Now, she'd organised, I think, the day or two before, the first demonstration, of sympathy for the families in Israel, and was hurt that the police wouldn't pose for a picture with that very peaceful and dignified demonstration. She assumed that the picture was from one of the hate marches. Now, it seems to have been in Manchester, and the flag involved was the flag of Imran Khan's political party in Pakistan. So she used the phrase about the police, who she thought to be the Met Police when it was the Greater Manchester Police, were photographed alongside what she termed Jew haters. Now, as you say, she deleted the post swiftly on learning of the factual mistakes. But if you actually look online, if you just Google Imran Khan's political party and anti-Semitism, surprise, surprise, there's quite a lot there. There are leading figures in it who have indulged in anti-Semitism. The whole party has been accused of anti-Semitism. So in no way could she be said, even accidentally, to have said something that was wrong. And the key thing is the complainant. The complainant says they're a former civil servant, a person of colour. And their contention was, as reported in The Guardian, that every time a media figure criticises a person of colour, that means that they suffer more racial abuse themselves. So any of us, for instance, who criticised the gangster Chris Cabba after that recent trial, we could all get a knock on the door because this person might say, well, Patrick O'Flynn or Dan Wootton said something disobliging about Chris Cabba, and the next day someone in the street said something to me that was unkind, and I think it's they were stirring up hatred. This should have been thrown out within 10 minutes. Instead,
Totally.
we've had a year long.
I couldn't agree more, for so many reasons, Tom Sullivan, because not only is it absolutely chilling in terms of what this would mean for free speech for the reasons that Patrick has just so brilliantly outlined, we've also got the issue of police resources. I mean, this is a failing police force. They solve something like 15% of hate crimes. That's the most successful area. If you're talking about rapes or burglaries or something like that, it's about 5 to 10%. But I look at this situation, Tom, and then I look at the fact that Cameron Bell is currently behind bars, this 23-year-old care worker who I believe was a citizen journalist. Anyone who was filming that unrest was trying to broadcast what was going on to the public. She wasn't involved in any violence herself. Can you understand why Elon Musk today has described the UK as a police state?
I can understand, Dan, and the more comparisons you make, the more disgusting you realize how this entire situation is. So to make the comparison with Cameron Bell, who has faced jail time for doing journalism, basically. I compare that to what we learned today, that a teacher who was responsible for distributing thousands of paedophilic images, some involving a child of 6 months, has been let off without any jail time at all. We talk about, you asked Patrick, is it criminal? The clue is in the name. They call it a non-crime hate incident. So if they're saying from the outset it is not a crime, and specifically for Essex Police Force, who visited Allison, in every category, you were right, it's between 5 and 10% in every type of category of the amount of crimes they actually solve. So what is the purpose of our police? We're the country that invented modern policing with Robert Peel, and now they've become some weird type of enforcer of the state ideology of woke liberal multiculturalism. And Alison coming out with her experience, as you mentioned earlier in the show, has sparked other people to come out with their stories. I did have to laugh, although it's not funny, of a 9-year-old school child being reported. Can you imagine a police officer? I would feel absurd if I was a police officer and I've dedicated my life to ensuring that the public are safe and putting criminals where they're supposed to be, writing out the words 9-year-old called another child the word of retard at school. I would feel absurd. So it makes me wonder what type of people actually work.
And one
in
kid
police.
had described another student as smelling of fish, which, might be a little bit unpleasant. Certainly not something that needs to involve the police. This is nuts. This is absolutely insane. As the front page of the Daily Mail points out today, Starmer supports this. This is the type of society he wants. But that's dangerous, isn't it, though? Because Patrick O'Flynn, as you pointed out quite recently on X, of course, talking about Lucy Connolly, the wife of the Conservative Party councillor who has gone to jail for an X post, you say, well, if that's the case, then surely our Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, should be sent to jail for comments that he made in a tweet. And I actually wasn't aware of this. I knew he had said some terrible posts on X before, but he said that he would pour whatever I can get my hands on over a white supremacist. Now, of course, I can understand why he would be angry about a white supremacist, but again, he is surely directly inciting violence there, Patrick O'Flynn. So the left have to be careful. But first, we've partnered with Gundry MD to share this information with you. Would you believe me if I told you inside your pantry right now is one of the healthiest foods on the planet? Yes, it's true, and it's not some weird, trendy superfood. Spoiler alert, it's olive oil. You're probably used to cooking with it, but there are countless ways to use olive oil to help yourself look and feel younger. For example, olive oil is a natural way to help you achieve a more youthful appearance. Besides helping you look younger on the outside, it's a fantastic tool for your insides as well. According to Dr. Stephen Gundry, a famous cardiothoracic surgeon, nutrition expert, and health advocate, you should get as much high-quality olive oil into your daily routine as possible, whether it's taking a shot of it daily or keeping a bottle of it in your bathroom medicine cabinet. But what kind of olive oil is best for your health? Well, any olive oil can give you some benefits, but if you're looking to get the best results, it matters a lot which one you pick. The olive oil industry is huge. You can tell by the number of olive oil brands you see at the grocery store, and you can bet they're not all made with the consumer in mind, and many brands may even cut corners one way or another to increase profits. So when Dr. Gundry came to this realization, he was appalled. But some olive oil is so powerful, it may only take a few tablespoons a week to see these incredible health benefits. So how can you tell between an olive oil that can be a health booster and one which isn't up to par? In an effort to answer that question, Dr. Gundry has decided to take a stand and release his personal research and findings. This video has gone viral since its release, and it's important you see it so you can start benefiting immediately. So you can watch the video right now by going to getolive1.com/outspoken or by clicking in the link in the description box below. So that's getolive1.com/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below on YouTube and Rumble. People who have taken his advice have shared their results with him, saying the olive oil they bought after learning his simple rules has helped change their lives. So make sure you go to getolive1.com/outspoken or click on the description box below this video.
Well, also David Lammy is in a position to understand the responsibilities of a professional political communicator, right? Mrs. Connolly might be the wife of a councillor, but she shouldn't be judged as being conversant with every spit and cough of the rapidly evolving restrictions on free speech. Now, with her sort of slightly intemperate expression, I can't remember if it was Facebook or Twitter, but she took it down after a couple of hours. If a normal person in the heat of the moment says something, and I think in her case it definitely fell short of incitement, if they then say sorry and take it down, surely in a proportional country that should be the end of it. Perhaps they should be told maybe think about being more careful in future. But to then hound them and put a mother in prison is outrageous. And one thing I think it shouldn't be neglected in this is Suella Braverman, who, the clever people
Former
in
Home
the
Secretary.
Conservative Party branded, an extremist, a hardliner on all this stuff. She's tended to be proven right, by the way, about nearly everything. She went to Rishi Sunak about 18 months or so ago, asking him to get rid of this whole area of the police involvement in so-called non-crime hate incidents, right? They allegedly slightly raised the bar on them, but that's not reflected in the figures, which show the police engaging in more and more of those. But Rishi Sunak was too cowardly, too much of a fence sitter to say, yes, this is outrageous. We should have confidence in free speech in this country. And he didn't do it. Now, that means Keir Starmer and his insidious, quite sinister new left student union government have got all the tools at their disposal to carry on like this and to give left-wing activists out there the ability to summon the police to the door of people who say things they, quote, find offensive. And they're not even regarded as complainants. According to what the policeman said to Allison Pearson, they are objectively victims. It's outrageous.
It is completely outrageous. By the way, I found out a little bit more about the case of Cameron Bell, the care worker, and it is so disturbing. So this poor woman, 23 years old, who the police have tried to make an example of, she was arrested in September and immediately remanded in custody. So this poor woman has been in jail since September. Now, you wonder why people plead guilty, because lots of people have said to me, why did she plead guilty? She would have had so much pressure, probably from her lawyers, from the police, saying, look, this is the quickest way to get you out of here. But the judge still gave her 9 months. Now, as a result of the prison space shortages and all of that type of thing, she is going to be out probably within a couple of weeks. But how terrifying that this 23-year-old who was just filming something going on in the streets was immediately remanded in custody. 23 years old. She lost her job as a care worker. She's been plastered all over the newspapers thanks to this PR campaign by the Staffordshire Police. Shame on them all.
Yeah, can I just say on that I think the cumulative impact of all of this is to make it impossible for normal working class people to take part in politics and debate in this country.
Yes.
If you're one of these graduate, never had a proper job, learned all the jargon, you can skate around this. I think the three of us today, we've probably become quite canny at knowing where the line is. But even so, it's increasingly perilous. If you're a normal British person who wants to participate in democracy, to express your outrage when little girls get butchered, you're now, boiling with frustration, but you're not confident enough to say anything because you think you might end up in jail. And that, I think, is another really...
It's about shutting us up. It is about shutting up the white working classes of the UK. And I will just stress the point again, we were lied to over the Southport massacre. While we can't talk about it too much, what I can categorically say is that Axel Rudikabana has been charged with the production of ricin. He has been charged with having an Al-Qaeda training manual at his home. So we were lied to when we were absolutely assured that there was no way that this was connected to terror. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.